Welcome to the Leverage Podcast. I'm Paul Richard, and we have a special guest here today, Shawn Burgess, with Mitchem Tire. We're so glad to have you on the show today, Shawn. It's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Paul, thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite.
It's so great to get connected through the networking Navy groups that we've been connected on. And tell us a little bit about your background. What's your background on things you've done, and where'd you go to school? What's going on with you?
So most of it, I grew up here in Springfield for most of my career. Went to Hillcrest High School, graduated 1998, and then from there started doing. My dad was in the automotive field. He sold paint for many years, so I did some stuff with that, and then just kind of enjoyed cars and working on them, but I was never quite that good at working on them. I was always good at talking to people and solving problems, so enjoyed doing that part. So a little bit after high school, got into a body shop position where I was just like a guy detailing cars, doing some stuff. And around that point in time, I joined the Army Reserves and wanted to be in that part, so did that part. So I was in the reserves for a long time, and then I kind of got in a position at an early age. Actually, like 21, I was actually running in a body shop. So kind of started that part earlier, found ways to be successful in that one. Really enjoyed what I did and how things went on that part. Fast forward about 15 years, kind of landed here. I worked for a different tire shop for franchise for a number of years and was kind of recruited by Mitchem. So took that opportunity, just loved the background as far as what it is and that kind of part. So really enjoyed a locally owned company. Gives you a little bit more better feel of the local stuff and just the heritage of it and that kind of stuff. So I've been in the automotive field for about 24 years doing that part, but this is kind of where I'm at currently and really enjoy what I do. I run the store at our Nixa location and do some supportive stuff for some of the other stores, but this is primarily where I function at here. So, and since we've been in Nixa, gotten involved in a lot of different aspects. The Chamber of Commerce is one of them. We've been open a year, April 2nd. It was a year. Within that year, I've been on the Nixa Chamber Board of Directors. So, and actually joined the Chamber of Commerce on that part. So it was kind of nice to do that kind of part. We just got involved with the local community, and it's kind of where we are now.
Very good. You said your dad was in the paint field. Was he a PPG rep or something? Or?
He was a PPG rep, yeah. He worked was Valley Paint and Supply for a number of years, yeah. Yeah, now it's called Color Vision, I believe.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in your history, like you said you're in the reserves, was that related to this field at all, or what were you doing in the reserves?
It kind of varies. So I did something called psychological operations. They call it PsyOps. So essentially, we help find out what the target audience is, and we have a directive or a mission, whether it be to get them to support what we're doing locally or whatever it is in that part. So it's you ever seen the movie Men Who Stare at Goats?
No, I haven't even heard of that. I'll have to look it up.
George Clooney's in it, but essentially that is what I did, and it sounds very weird, but essentially we did a lot of things to make the target audience, locals or whatever, support the mission that we had going on at the time. So
interesting.
It was
fun.
I've
never even heard of that. I just looked it up on my screen here. Wow, interesting.
Yeah, it is. The movie's a little far-fetched.
Up with? Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I'll keep that in mind. Is there? So, how did you get linked up with the Mitchems in your initial? Did you just interview for the position, or did you know them, or how did you get into that?
No, there was actually I was working at like I said, a franchise before that kind of part, and they were kind of looking to do some other stuff. Culture is a big thing, and they really enjoy culture. So one of the people that actually worked with me at another place I worked at, she was like trying to help me get on here, this and that. So there was some communication back and forth. But as far as the owner goes, I didn't actually meet them until the actual interview. But trying to line up the initial interviews just wasn't working great, this and that. So it was almost a thing where I was like, it's too frustrating. So, I won't get to that part. But Steve, one of the owners, stayed late and met me, and we, had an interview. Seemed like it was 2 hours, but it may not have been quite that long. But essentially, he's from Nixa. They wanted to open up a store here. So when they hired me 2 years ago, the intent was to be here. So when I got hired on, I worked at our Kearney store for a little bit to learn everything, this and that. Because like I said, they didn't have the place we were going to be at. He just knew he wanted a store in Nixa. So that's what we were going through. So we got that store now. We actually opened a store in Republic about 2 months ago. So we've actually opened 2 stores in 2 years for a local company. So a lot of good stuff going on.
Wow. So is that a total of 3 locations, or are there other locations?
There's actually 6. They've got 2 in Springfield. They got 1 on Kearney. They got 1 at Campbell and Battlefield. They got 1 in Branson, Ozark, Republic, and Nixa.
I thought so. The one here in Branson, isn't it right up here? I'm on. Is it on Gretna Road?
Yeah, it's on Gretna Road. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the exact location.
It's right across from Sunshine Signs down here. Okay, I live in Branson, and my office where I'm at right now is about just a couple blocks away from Mitchem, down the road over here. So, very good, very good. Well, who's the manager down here? Do you know?
Down there, it's a guy named Matt. Matt is actually fairly new with this. He's been with us. He's been with us probably less than a month. The other manager had been there for many years.
Okay.
Yeah. So Matt is a good dude. Take great care of you.
I'll have to pop in and say hi. Absolutely, because it's right down the street from me.
Yeah.
So in the tire business, I'm really curious as an industry. It seems like it's a very highly competitive industry, is it not?
It is a highly competitive industry. There's a lot of big box stores that do it, and they do it very well. Especially when it comes to tires. There's not a lot of margins in some of them there is, so it is very competitive on that side. At the end of the day, it kind of comes down to just different things about how the customer's feeling and what they want. So, but it is very cutthroat, but very good industry to be into. Very necessary. Everybody's got cars, and you can sell them 4 at a time versus if you're selling hot dogs, you can only sell 1 at a time. So,
right. I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, that's absolutely true. And so, and it seems like if you've got a mechanic shop, you don't do tires most of the time. It seems like it's a very separate business, and if you do tires, you don't necessarily do a lot of the other mechanical stuff. Now, does Mitchem do things beyond just tire install and sales in that, or what do they do?
Our when the company started in 1939, they actually sold seat covers and tires. So very interesting business to be in. So where we've evolved from there, at my location here, I've actually got 3 technicians, 3 mechanics. We are set up here. We can do full engine replacements, transmissions, and we do that stuff. The other stores are set up where they have a technician, mechanic, and then they have a person who does alignment. So obviously our bread and butter is oil changes, brakes, tires, strut, suspension alignments. But we've been able to, since my background came from that part, we've been able to step into that place and take that here in Nixa. Ryan, who's my second here, came from kind of similar field on that part, so we've evolved from that. So we actually have 3 mechanics, whereas the other stores only have 1. So it's kind of backwards from where we are, but the footprint we have at the store allows us to do that, which is fantastic. So, he actually changed the name to from Mitchem Tire and Wheel to Mitchem Tire Auto about 4 or 5 months ago to kind of line up with how things correspond now. So definitely doing that.
Sure.
But we do all the other services, but our bread and butter is obviously in tires, has been for years, as it goes in that part. So, but like I said, we've opened 2 locations in the past 2 years and super excited on that, but actually in the past year. So really excited about that part.
And then your location in Nixa, is that on Tracker Road, or where's that?
So I'm on. It's called North Deffer. It's kind of by Godfather's Pizza. They just redid the intersection out here at
Okay.
160. Yeah, so I either ask people, do
Yeah.
you know where the crazy intersection is, or do you know where Godfather's is? And most people know that. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then how many bays do you have at your location?
I have 9 here.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
I got 9. Yeah, the way the shop's set up and the way it is on that part, and we got a new alignment machine here, so we're super proud of that part. Definitely love that. So, and the other stores have bays too, but like I said, they're tires and oil changes and brake shocks and struts here. We've got 2 or 3 engine jobs sitting outside. I've got a transmission job sitting outside, so we've been able to evolve to that need for other customers, so we don't have to send them somewhere else and they get subpar service, or they get really great service and they start going to them. So this way we can keep everything in house, and the other stores recommend stuff too, so they come here too, so it all stays in the same family.
Okay. Fantastic. So, with that, like oil changes, is it something where they could do it like a quick oil change, or is it something where they have to leave it for a while, or what's typical for you guys?
So they have found, Steve and Corey, the owners, have this mapped out to a T, and it works very well. So we take oil changes, rotations, inspections on a walk-on basis at all of our locations. We don't schedule anything. You can come
Okay.
in. We'll tell you how long it is before you get in, and generally within an hour, we can have you in and out. Sometimes it's a little bit more, depends on if it's early morning, especially Saturday mornings at the stores. But we take everything on a walk-in basis. That's why it's a fair playing field. That way you're not saying, hey, I got an appointment at 2. I mean, we've all been to the doctor and your appointment's at 2, and then at 2:45 you're like, where the heck is the guy? So this way we took the guess out of it.
Yeah.
We just do everything on a walk-in basis, so that way they can come in and they can call us and say, hey, how long for this? And we could say, if you were standing in front of me, you would have this much time. So it's a fair playing field, as fair as it can be anyways. In the world we're in, everybody, quick lube places, those places have a very specific model they follow. We don't. They just want to get you in and out and get as much money as you can. We actually want to take care of your car for generations, as we have. So when we get your car in here, we got a checklist we go through. We make sure everything's good. We set the tire pressures. We top off the washer fluid. If we see a problem, we're going to tell you about it. And we take people out to the car all the time to show them what's going on. So we don't have to use the smoke and mirrors. We have a good legacy that has been left by stuff we've done. We took care of generations and generations of folks that come in here. There'll be people coming in. Yeah, my grandpa come here, my dad did. And they're bringing their kids in here for their first oil change. So it's really awesome, the culture and the environment we have that has just been able for us to be in, as far as what's there, just from the history that's with the company.
Very good. And what's been their approach to marketing overall? Do they do coupons? Do they do a lot of social media? What's been your advertising methodology at Mitchem?
Most of it right now seems to be, there are some coupons. If you go to our MitchemTire.net, you actually go to our website. Facebook is a lot of it. And Facebook seems to be a thing that everybody's kind of evolved that direction. So they do some Facebook. A lot of it depends on their campaigns as far as what they're figuring out. But if a certain tire has a rebate coming up or this or that, like Steve will do some of the commercials. He's saying, hey, getting ready for summer fun, and you'll hear it when you're on hold when you do it. But it seems to be Facebook, and there are some other marketing avenues they use. We just had a guy do a drone footage of all of our stores, and they just released our 1 year anniversary was April 2nd, and they had a guy with the drone footage showing it, and it shows it off 160 here, this and that, so it kind of shows the backside of it versus the front side. So they've got a lot of avenues they go through and do, so that work very well on that part. And I'm sure there's some other stuff. He may do some radio stuff. I know they do some local sponsorships, like we did. Nixa Chamber of Commerce has a thing called Nexpo. We were a gold sponsor at that when we did that. So they do, some other stuff of that part. But basically, communities where he is really where he wants to be. Like our Store in Republic's involved with the Chamber of Commerce too, and some local stuff going that direction. So there are a lot of local avenues they looked at. We sponsored the Guns and Hoses softball tournament last year for the police and the firemen here in Nixa. and have done some other stuff to go to that part. So definitely, go to that part. We're involved in Sucker Days. I'm actually leading the parade. We joined the chamber last year in April, and the Sucker Days is in March. And I was there, and they're like, "Well, who's ever done a parade?" And I'm on an NPO where I've done a couple different things. So I said, "I am." So, we've been in the chamber, less than 2 weeks, and here I am leading the parade. So we went in with both feet. So sometimes that is not necessarily marketing you spend money on, but my time has to count for that part too. So, being involved in the communities we serve is something we've definitely started strategizing that makes a difference, and really genuinely want to be involved with it, just not showing up going, "Hey, great to see you."
Yeah.
Being involved with it and how things go, and it kind of evolves from there.
Now, you've been in Network Navy for the last year or so then, since you joined
Yeah.
that? Is that right?
April of last year, yeah.
Okay. And how's that been working out for you?
Tell you what, the return on investment has been great, especially the people
Great.
you meet, because I see a lot of the people I see there at some of the other events we do in Nixa. So I may see the same person 4 or 5 times in one day and not see him for another month. I'll see them at our meetings.
Yeah.
We do this and that, but they're at the ribbon cuttings, they're at the other stuff. We're in that part, so you get to know the people, and they know somebody who needs something, so they send them to you, or somebody who needs something, so you can send them to them. The return on investment's been awesome.
That's great. I was going to ask you specifically about the alignment. What's the general price range for an alignment for, a standard SUV or something like that?
Yeah.
Is there a standard pricing for that?
Yeah, our standard alignment is 115, and it is a 2-wheel or 4-wheel alignment, depending on if the vehicle has 4-wheel adjustments on it. Generally takes about an hour, and we give you a printout that has before and after on it, but it is probably one of the wisest investments you can make in your vehicle. Because if your tires are off, if they're pigeon-toed or your camber's off, it's going to affect your gas mileage. It's going to wear your tires out, and tires aren't cheap anymore. I mean, there is the, just round, black, and hold air, but there's also that, $1,500 set of tires that, are going to last you 5 years. And alignment is just a very cheap insurance policy to make sure that happens, or to see if you got any loose front end parts. Because when when we're doing the alignment, we check the front end, make sure there's nothing loose. If you got something loose, that can be dangerous with that, and that can cause some issues down the road. So an alignment is next to an oil change, is probably single-handedly one of the smartest investments you can make in your vehicle. Check it at least once a year. Most places do checks at no charge. It just kind of varies on the stuff. If you're one of our existing customers, we're going to throw that in for you because we want to make sure it's great. It takes about 10 minutes to put it up there when you have the technician, the machine available to do it. But it makes a huge difference overall on the life of your tires and your vehicle.
Yeah. I actually, before I joined the Navy, you familiar with Campbell Automotive there in Nixa?
Mm-hmm.
You'd heard, yeah, Campbell. So
Yeah.
I was in a Bible study with the owner, and I had him do an alignment. And you were absolutely right. It made a huge difference in just the shimmy on my wheel, and I'm sure the tire wear and everything was so much less because of what happened. I think it was the toe end was off or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was
yeah.
the toe end that was off mostly on it, so that I agree with you. That's a huge deal. So overall, you've been in Nixa for a year. Is there a lot of referrals between the different locations as far as somebody sending you somebody up to your location if they're closer and that type of thing?
If a customer calls and, let's say they're on I-44 and they're looking for a tire to see who's got it, if they call me, I can say, hey, I have it or I don't, or hey, my Kearney store does, and I can, the way our phone system's set up, I can actually transfer them to Kearney. They don't even have to call them. So it makes life easier on that
that's
part.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and sometimes it could be, later in the afternoon, and, for them to come get a tire is going to take a little bit. So the customer could be there on the phone. They're saying, hey, my store and Nixa has it, or my store in Republic has it. I can't go get it this and that, but you can go to them. I've called them, verified it. You can go in and get that took care of, so the customer can go there and get took care of. At the end of the day, it's all about trying to take care of the customer in the best way possible, whether it be at our location or whatever. And that's one thing about the team. It makes all the difference. I'm super honored to lead a great team full of guys. One of the best teams I've ever had. And they make all the difference in the world. And wanting to go home and jump off a roof at the end of the day, or wanting to go home and say, Lord, thank you for this day. This was amazing. I look forward to another one. But they make all the difference.
Very good.
Customers are customers. They're either angry they're here, they're happy they're here. Somebody made them mad before they got here. It could just depend. Some customers are okay, some customers are awesome. So you just have to deal with them in the time they're in. They're coming in here with a problem. Our job's to solve it, and sometimes they're a little cranky from the problems they have. So we have to have some thick skin sometime, but get them took care of, and just makes all the difference in the world for the return customer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what brands of tires are available through Mitchem? Is there certain ones, or how does that work?
So our main, we have a couple of tires that we are super proud of. Kumo's one of them. Kumo's a great tire. It is probably our number one seller. We have an in-house tire called Blackhawk. It is a mid-grade tire. And it does what it needs to. It's a price point that does really well. I've actually put them on my truck. I've got them on 3 of my kids' cars. So there's a price point that comes with that, and they're a very good tire for the money that they offer. Some of the other people that come in want, they want the Michelins, they want the Goodyears. Pretty much any tire you can think of, as long as one of my distributors have it, we can get it. We started. Toyo is what we've been known for years, and Toyo's a great tire. Kumo is kind of top of the market as far as the performance and how things go right now with that. So Kumo, it looks like for a while to come, is going to be our tire that, hey, this is got the best features in the world as far as what's there, comparable to a lot of tires on that one. We got some folks that want Michelin. We'll be happy to do those. We're a Firestone Bridgestone affiliate, so we do a lot of those too, and we do a ton of trailer tires. I can tell you, trailer tires, you think car owners are picky about their tires. Trailer tires, holy cow. Some of these people want, a very specific brand, a certain ply. Sometimes they got to be on that, but, they get pretty particular on that part. And trailer tires, we've got our house brands that we carry, and then, we can get the Goodyears, we can get the Maxxis, we can get the Carlisles, things people grew up on. We can get in those too.
Sure. And so do the manufacturers like that run specials? Like you said, you said something. I think the last time I did get Pirelli's my last time, and I think it was like $80 off of 4 or something of that nature. In that case, do they offer that through you guys as well?
They do. A lot of them have rebates, because right now there's like a Toyo rebate, there's a Firestone rebate. There's different rebates that go through, and we can kind of see what those are. And some of them have them paired. Like if you have a Firestone card and use it, you get that plus $100. There's just different things you can do to go through on that part. They work out very well, that do that part. So yeah, they'll have rebates on them. Towards the end of the year, we kind of do a buy 3, get 1 free on some tires. And it's the Kumos. So that's usually around October, December, point of view on that part, and it does a couple things. It helps clear up. There's DOT numbers on tires. They put the week and the year they're made on them. If you've got some tires that are starting to add up that haven't done that part, you can have this special and kind of clear out some numbers on that part. So we have the ability where we can do that, and Kumo doesn't grant that to everybody. They only grant to their top distributors that do that kind of part. So it's really awesome to be able to do that, and be able to offer to the customer. So, that way we can offer it to you and kind of have that part. So we do that with the Kumos. We do it with some of our other tires. It depends. Tires, some products, they get discontinued. Some of them, then they come out with new ones. So if they've got some on that kind of part, they'll push them a little bit, and offer some discounts on them. A lot of it tends down to the rebates, and they'll have a scheduling for the whole year, and we can gain access to it and kind of see what's there. Because we've had some folks, hey, I'm thinking about buying tires in the springtime. Well, hey, in March to June, they're going to have this special on these tires. A rebate that you can get on that kind of part. So a lot of people like that when you have the ability to give them those answers.
Got it. And then, so if they're not in stock, what typically is the time frame to get them in from your distributor? Is that normally like next day, or how does that work?
So it honestly depends. Generally in the morning, we can order them before noon and have delivered that afternoon. Sometimes it's a later. We actually have shop trucks at the location, so we can actually send people to go get them. A lot of the tire warehouses are on the north side of Springfield, so we can go down there. Obviously, our Branson location can't go down there and grab them, every day on that kind of part. But like our store on Kearney can run down to the warehouses and grab one of them. I did it this morning for a customer that wanted a set of tires. In fact, he's here now getting them put on. That he's like, hey, I'll be back at this time. Want to put on. If we can get them delivered, we certainly try. That way, the manpower can stay here, so we can get the customers took care of. But we do have the manpower and the trucks in place where we can go get them. And generally, about here, it's about an hour round trip to go get them. And then the customer can either come back or we could pull the car and get the tires ready. So when the driver gets back, they can start putting them on. So we try and go the extra mile to get the customers took care of. One, time is the only commodity you got, you can't get back. So it's important. And then two, the customer will be like, hey, I want this. And they're like, you know what? I just want to check this. They'll call a place down the street and the guy's, done something different. And they're like, hey, all of a sudden I don't want them. So it's easier to try, reap while you can at that point in time. And that way you don't have to worry about them, losing the sale or, anything else going with that part. You can just get them took care of right then. And most people want to be took care of right then.
Got it. And so if you have them in stock and you're able to get them in, is it roughly an hour to do install and spin balance and get all that done?
Generally it is. Generally an hour will give us a chance to get them on, get them balanced. And we try and get every car on the alignment rack. If you buy tires from us, we do an alignment check as a courtesy. And that way it gives us a chance and we can show you on paper where it's out so you can see that. Our goal is to do that in an hour. Sometimes it depends on if there's a car on the alignment rack or what's there. I always tell people if we're doing tires in alignment, give me 2 hours and we can easily get took care of. And most people can play on their phone for that time or, go get lunch with a friend or something like that. So it gives us the ability we can get them took care of. And plus we can tell the next person, is calling, hey, I'm looking for these tires. Be like, hey, I got them in stock. I've got this going on. If you're in front of me now, it would be this long before we can do it. So we can clearly communicate with the customer to the best of our knowledge at that point in time and, say factually, hey, it'll be this long. So we've got it down to a pretty good science. But cars always like messing up science. So grain of salt sometime needed.
That's right. Very good. So you do brakes as well, right?
Yep. Do brakes, do maintenance on cars, do oil changes, shock struts. We've gotten to a point. Alternators are kind of something on cars that, always been there that's up and down. We do, under the hood stuff on that. Preventative maintenance is a big thing. Your car you had back in the early 2000s doesn't quite have the maintenance you got to have now. I mean, on a lot of these cars, they have electronic parking brakes, and you have to have a scan tool to even disengage the caliper so you can service the brakes. So sometimes the people who do it at home, they watch a YouTube video and they leave out this part, and the next thing you know, they're calling me saying, hey, I got my own parts. I need to get this done. And unfortunately, we just don't take customers' parts. We like to be able to take care of the products from beginning to end so we can give you a great warranty and guarantee you a great repair. But yeah, if you're watching the YouTube video, and the guy left out the part where he had to use a scanner to disengage the calipers, or you're seeing a thing where they go, you can put it in brake mode, do this. Sometimes they do work, but a lot of the newer cars just take a scanner to almost do anything, even change the oil. So it's amazing how it's evolved, and we've evolved with that. Like I said, we got a new alignment machine here. We've got scanners at the stores. Some of those things, we got a $10,000 scanner. That's a lot to take in, and then you've got to do the software update it and all the stuff to go to it so you can get those customers took care of. But it gives you the advantage over the other folks. And obviously when people come in, they can see you're genuine and this and that. But having the technology makes it so much easier to do and to get proper repairs.
Very good. You brought up warranties on the tires. Is it the same warranty no matter what the manufacturer is, or how does that work? Like, do you offer a package where it's you get a free repair if you have a flat or something, or how does that work?
So what we offer tire protection plan, or road hazard, as people put it, with our tires. Tires have different mileage ratings, and when we're talking about them, we're going to have that discussion. There's a 70,000 mile tire, and then there's some tires that don't have any. All of our tires, if you buy the tire protection plan, come with free rotate, balance, and flat repair for the life of the tire. And one thing we do that's really cool is if you get a nail in the tire and it's not fixable, we sell you the tire on a prorated basis. Okay. Everybody does that, but here's what we do. A lot of the cars these days are all-wheel drive. So if you go to Uncle Bob's tire shop and Uncle Bob says, hey, you need a new tire, hey, we're going to prorate this one, but you got to buy 3 new tires, we prorate all 4 tires for you. We do it on all the way across the board. If they're not within the tread, they should be on that. This is the only company I've ever worked for that's ever done that. And that saves people anywhere from $1,000 to a couple $100 on an all-wheel drive car that say you've got half tread on tires. So it is just a substantial value for, I think the tire protection plan is a certain percent of the value of the tire. So, I mean, it's kind of like insurance, if you will, but the rotate, balance, and flat repair are worth their weight in gold doing that part too. But, there's some tires that are $500 a piece. And if you get it on the side of that and you can get 40% off that tire, woohoo, let's do that.
Yeah. Is that is there a flat rate for each tire for that service or that?
It is about 10% of the value of the tire. So if we got a $100 tire, then it's $10, and it goes to that part. But that gets you basically the rotation, balance, and flat repair. Like the rotation is $25, the flat repair is $25, rotate and balance is $50. If all 4 tires add up, to under $50, then that's already pretty much paid for itself long-term wise as far as what's going to happen. And our tire protection plan is nationwide for the first 3 years. We got a co-op of other smaller dealerships that we're in that do it. That works out very well on that side. Unfortunately, it's only for the first 3 years, but the fact that it is nationwide for at least some amount of time is awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So if I had a question, I was trying to think of what it was. I lost it there for a second. I guess in relation to the warranty, does that include any towing or anything like that as part of that, or no?
Some of them have roadside assistance where they will come, like if you run out of gas, they'll put gas in it for you. If you got a flat, they'll put your spare tire on. Some cars don't have spares, so they will tow you at that point in time. So they start out as the roadside assistance, and towing is an option if it needs to evolve to that for some reason. But, if you run out of gas, you lock out of your car, something like that happens, they will come and assist you and tow if needed. But towing's kind of a secondary part to it where they just call it roadside assistance. But it seems like everybody has that, from their phone to their insurance to, whatever. I usually don't ever point that out to folks anymore because so many people have it on. It seems like you can buy a cookie and it comes with roadside assistance these days.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. And then, do you sell wheels as well?
We do. Wheels is actually one of the cultural foundations that we started on, and, people would come in and, put the wheels on the car. It's evolved nowadays. It's a little bit, there's 4,000 different wheel manufacturers and so many different wheels, and people will see a car that they like, and you can use Google Lens and a lot of stuff to find out what it is. And there's some brands we can get. We sell probably 20 to 50 sets of wheels still at our stores in between all of them combined. So it is still something that does happen, but there are so many different things on there. That's why we changed the name a little bit to Mitchem Tire Auto. So, because, wheels are still part of what we do, but they're probably 10% of what we do now, whereas they used to be closer to 40-50% of what we do. Just because there's so many people doing it, there's so many options on it. So we had to evolve with the culture to stay valid in that part. So, yeah, we still do them, love doing them, love making the cars look great and how things are. I've got them on my truck, so I'm definitely a supporter of them.
Very good. Very good. All right. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to talk about?
It's a lot of folks do a lot of research on tires online, and it's a great thing to have. Most customers, when they come in, have a price in mind, have a brand preference, have something. When you come into a shop, that guy is your professional. You're coming to him for professionalism too. You may know some more than he does. You may have some stuff. But tires honestly sell themselves. My job is to help solve a problem for you. You're going to come in, you've got a budget in mind, you've got something there. I'm going to help you get as close to that budget as we can and help get you a great deal in the process. The goal is when you come in to know that the guy that you're talking to or the lady you're talking to, we have lives outside of this too, and we definitely enjoy it. But if people are showing up and they're smiling and they're genuine, that means they really enjoy what they do. It just makes all the difference in the world, especially with the AI stuff coming out. AI is obviously not going to take my job because they can't put tires on cars. But when people are doing this kind of stuff, genuine human connection is going to be something that has got to be applied for and thought of in the future. So when you're dealing with, someone, just whether you're, buying something at the grocery store or you're dealing with someone buying tires, remember they're there for a reason to do that. You're there for a reason. Make a friendship of it if you can, but at the end of the day, just treat the person with kindness and dignity and enjoy that.
Very good. Very good. Well, Shawn, it's been a pleasure to learn more about you and your business. I thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Okay.